I had talked about laws being circumvented in the previous video. Um, had more to do with God, religious, moral laws. But I was on my way to work, and I was standing at a corner waiting for the bus, and I saw a funeral procession coming through. Uh, Something I haven't seen in a while. When you know multiple cars back to back, they have the funeral flags or stickers on their vehicles. It allows people to know that they have the right of way when it comes to intersections. Um, and while this was happening, they got to the intersection, and of course they're allowed to go through the red light. An ambulance was coming adjacent to the funeral procession, and I said, "Wow, I've never seen that happen before." Because the ambulance holds the same power, and I thought about, wow, the only thing missing here is a police cruiser. When there are laws set in place, and I'm going to use this example: green is go, red is stop. But in the case of a funeral procession going through, if the light is red, they can go through the red light. They circumvent that law of traffic because of a death in the family. Now, when an ambulance's sirens are wailing, they have the same power. If this is an emergency, this can be life or death. They have the power to circumvent the law of traffic and go through the red light. And thirdly, the police cruiser, when their lights are flashing, they hold the same power. And what they were meant for, to serve and protect, this is a matter of life. I found this so interesting. You have a matter of death. You have a matter of life. You have a matter of life or death. All three hold the power to circumvent the law that was put in place at an intersection. And as I'm standing there, I'm realizing that there are a lot of laws that's put into place. And when we talked about God and the things He's created in the world, and He created us as human beings. And the example of trying to reach a high point, I was on the train at this point during my commute to work, and I saw a pigeon on a rooftop. I thought, how long did it take for man to figure out how to get to certain heights? And the ideas that we had to cycle through to reach the height of the rooftop. Someone had to think of, I guess, first the hook and rope system or the pulley system, and they had to measure the length of rope. They had to test the durability of the rope, the tension. Could it hold their body weight, their physical strength of climbing up the rope? It was so much put into place just to get to this height. I thought about if you're using a ladder, same thing. Measurements are very important. Can the steps bear you? What the angles you have to tilt the ladder to lean against the structure to support you and the ladder for your ascent to this rooftop. It's just so many things. I mean, we invented escalators, stairs, just so many things. And as mankind, scaling a mountain like Mount Everest that people do, and it's an achievement, And we stand there, we're proud. You know what we normally do? We place a flag there. We've conquered it. This is the greatest thing man has ever achieved. I can scratch it off my bucket list and I can die now and then be immortalized in history. All the while, there's a bird that's sitting at the top of this roof. Like it's just Tuesday for me. God gave us a mind to think, and though with enough time and ingenuity, we can achieve great things. That's true. But what God gave us through our minds, the ability He gave to certain creatures, and it's just amazing sometimes when you think about it. I know we talked about in the previous video how much we don't know about God or creation. We've learned a great deal, but in the grand scheme of things, we might have only been scratching the surface of certain things. When I was on the train and I was looking at this vision, all these thoughts came to me, and the look that he gave was as if this was nothing. It was nothing for this bird to be on this roof. We've seen different videos. I don't know if people are into animal videos, things like that. You see, animals wear clothes and do silly dances, things like that. Things you probably wouldn't normally see them do, but God purposed them. He purposed them for this very thing. A bird was meant to fly. Speaking of pigeon, specifically, some birds can't fly. But this was what he was born to do. It's just natural. It wasn't a thing. He struggled to get up there. He didn't have to think about how I'm going to get up there. He just flew and just perched himself quite comfortably on a roof. I said, wow. How much we struggle to just do what he does naturally. Now, fast forward today, yeah, we're flying now. We had to go through so much to get to this point. With the invention of the airplane itself, and the Wright brothers and the things they had to do, testing the wind currents, being in a place where the wind is most favorable for lift, math. It was just so much that went into it. And of course, over time, additions to the invention, perfecting it, crafting it until we have the aircrafts that we have today. All merited people, merited men and women, whoever gave their minds and their lives to the invention, and they created something that's able to sustain flight. Wonderful. While all that toiling, this bird was in the air. I don't know how else to say it. I don't know if I'm saying anything right now, but all our getting, he does naturally. And it just blows my mind. Like, wow. You never have to worry about any of these things. The law of nature, the food chain, it's like I am here to eat and be eaten. You never have to worry so much about where's my meal coming from. If I'm a cheetah and they're a gazelle, you are my meal. And the gazelle eats the grass is the meal. You never have to worry about, figuring things out. How I'm going to take care of my children. These aren't worries for animals. They do what they do naturally. They don't worry about these things. They don't struggle to be animals. They don't struggle. They just do it. It comes with the species that they are. Had a lot of time to think. A lot of time to think. And it's an amazing concept just to think about, Like I said, not taking anything away from the achievements of mankind, of course. But we pretty much strive to do what animals do naturally. And yet we still don't know everything. We are the most intelligent species on this planet, and we don't know anything. it is sort of a paradox to have more information now than ever before since the dawn of time and still not know anything. So much more I want to say. I just, that's just right now, that's all I got. It reminded me of that movie Good Will Hunting, where Matt Damon's character was explaining to the professor in the equation that he just solved on his own without any help or anything. And at this time, he was not a student in the class. He wasn't even enrolled in the school. He was the janitor cleaning the floor, seeing an equation in the classroom, and just decided to solve it. And I remember him saying the professor was trying to figure out how he did it, and he said, "Well, did you consider this and consider that?" And he said, "This is easy for me. This is easy for me." He said, "It's right." He just kept telling him, "It's right. It's right. Look at it." He said, "You think that I struggled to do this is easy?" It was almost like an insult to him, Matt Damon's character, to even be questioned if the answer was right. It was like asking an adult, what's 2 plus 2? You know, it would be an insult if you didn't accept the answer. Or what else would it be? It's like this. I didn't struggle to get to the answer of this equation. It's simple math. The complex equation that was on the board for Matt Damon was just simple math. It didn't take him long at all. That is that feeling right there. When you realize that this is a whole nother level. It's a whole nother level of evolution that we can only dream of. We can assimilate flight. But as far as the human body was not meant to sustain flight on its own, we can invent things, to help us. Soldiers who are injured and they lose limbs, we have prosthetics. We use the best quality grades of plastics and metals, polymers, and all these things. Even through exercise and hard training, we can achieve great physical feats for a person. But when you compare it to any animal, it's just like Captain America. I can do this all day. The animals, they just do this all the time. It's nothing. You ever seen one of those mountain goats scale a mountain? He doesn't have fingers or hands, nothing to grab onto, but he just, it makes it look so easy, like there was a pattern just edges into the mountain that no one can see but this goat, and just goes up it. It's truly amazing. Truly amazing. I think we take for granted how amazing these creatures are, and the genetic ingenuity that went into each individual animal. I hate the fact that we cherish them and destroy them at the same time. And so many species as on the endangered species list, and those that are going extinct that we'll never see again. And still, some creatures I've never seen in my life. I've seen them on National Geographic. Like, I've never seen this creature before. And to be an adult male and say this is the first time I've seen an animal like this, it tells you something. Then to find out there's only a few of them left, and it's not like I've seen it in person. It's a great deal of respect, I feel, that is missing. And like that wildlife commercial a long time ago with the dominoes, and each domino had a picture of a species on there, and each one would extinct, it would knock the next domino over, and the last domino was mankind. We can't live without these creatures. They keep the ecosystem going to some degree. Like I said, there's a food chain that's put in place. It's not just to feed the animals, but also to keep the populations in check. And we have to do better.